Alrighty, so let's see. Tier 10 game, no artillery, you're a west spawn. They have a faster comp than you, and so like in comps like this, it's actually difficult to take this area here, but since there's no artillery, you can actually sit a little bit further back, like on this corner here. It's okay in this case to do it. When there is artillery, you don't want to sit back on this corner because you're just going to get bombed out by artillery. But in this case, you can, because you can spot up into this lane. And really what you want to be able to do is get eyes into here, so that ideally when your team gets set up over here, they can get shots up there. This is the best lane for the west team to shoot through, through into this northeast area, which is why from that east spawn, I never go to the northeast. It's just not a very strong play. It's very, very easily countered. And the east side, of course, has an advantage to play through the middle just because of the way that this lake is crafted. And so it's easy, like see how a lot of your team's going on here, it's easy to get up underneath those guys. And again, it means a little bit less when there's no artillery, just because there's less punishment for them there. So you have to be careful in that position that you're in, because once they get up on this north area, they're going to be in a position to shoot you. They're not going to be there for another, at least 15-20 seconds or so. But like this position is not really that great. You'd actually probably rather be a little bit closer over on that side, at least if you're going to get spotted and or get shots. And then, so this 1375 could do what I said, which is basically sit on this corner to spot that area up there. You don't really get that good of shots from this rock unless they push in through this area right here, which is why I don't really like playing it all too much. You've got a target right there that you can shoot, though. It's like these guys that you're looking at right now, they're not really doing a whole lot, right? But you know that you're going to get pushed on this north side at some point. Right? And once you get lit there, these guys from the north, they're going to be able to light you up. So that's why you got to be a little careful when you sit on that area. Because once you lose that north, where you guys are is not safe. And it's a similar situation for these guys back here. Right? They should be looking to get these shots up here, because they don't want these guys to push in through here. Because once these guys get lit back here, then these guys it's going to be a field day for them to just shoot them. So right now you need to be getting a little bit more shots than you are. Ideally, you can move your tank. So they're going to come in through that north side. So you need to get out of this middle area here, because they're gonna start getting a lot of flanking shots on you soon. So you want to start shifting back towards this area back here. And you don't want to back up too much because you're going to get shot from up there. Although presumably they're going down. You don't really need to auto-aim, just go ahead and aim manually. I wouldn't worry too much about what's behind you. You need to clear these guys out in front of you before they get actually supported by their guys that seem to be lagging behind. And you'd rather take out this other guy, right? This guy's already low. Well, he's dead now, so. You could have just driven around him. He wouldn't have had the turret traverse in order to catch up to you. And then what you want to be able to actually do, you don't want to drive back through into this middle area here because you're going to get shot from multiple sides. You either want to go this way or you want to go this way, right? You don't want to go through this middle area here, because going through this middle area here, any extended encounter, you're going to always be shot in the side or the back someplace. You don't quite need to auto-aim that. And your 704 is also going to be getting shot in the side, just like you are. Which is why you don't want to sit there once they have you basically flanked. You want to pull back over to one side or the other. And especially, like, see how they're starting to get this envelop on you? You want to avoid getting enveloped. And getting enveloped is bad. And so you need to move a little bit more defensively, like reposition. Like there's no reason, like there's still no reason for you to still be here. Yeesh. Yeah, it would have been very easy for you to move out at any point in there in order to get out on this side, and that would have made it a lot easier for you to do a lot of things. Let's see what happens to your team. I'm guessing it doesn't go well. But that's sort of the bad part about giving up so much ground on this north. Playing through this middle is really, really ineffective if the other team plays up. If the other team plays up through this lake right here and they have snipers up here. Because all they have to do is just wait. And then as these guys get lit, right, like that Patton KR and that Moots, they were shooting you the whole time. They were just peck, 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 peck. And there wasn't anything that you could do about it. And you want to avoid being in those situations where there's nothing that you can do. So anyways, a couple of things. One, you went to this rock initially, again, which I don't feel is super great. Unless you see them pushing in through this area, this rock really doesn't give you good shots anywhere else on the map, and it overexposes you to a number of things, particularly from getting shot from the north. You knew that you were weak on the north. Your team didn't get nearly enough firepower up there. All they had to do was shoot. If the 1375 could have gotten earlier lights, that would have been nice, but your team still kind of struggled to deal damage. But you never want to see your team sitting back here or anywhere in this sort of middle area right here. That's all pretty bad. Even when there's no artillery. When there's no artillery, it's really bad. When there's no artillery, it's still kind of bad. You don't generally want to stay there. You want to be, like, for you, your initial positioning should have probably been up here. You could have both spotted and gotten shots and been safe from return fire from up there, and that might have held them at bay there longer. Maybe your guys could have gotten some shots from down here or felt more confident about trying to shoot up there. And then at the end, it was you just didn't move enough to respond to what their team was doing. They had you outnumbered on that north. They were pushing in through that side over there. And you guys were able to kill their first three guys, I think it was. Two or three guys that came through here. It was like an E50 and a T54 E1 or something like that. No, Centurion 7-1 and a T54 E1. So that was fine. But you know that they still got guys back there, and you went back through the middle. Whenever you start finding yourself getting shots from multiple directions, you need to not be in that area, not be someplace where people can shoot you from multiple directions, and pull back, get everybody in front of you, light them as they come in, or move around to attack or defend from a different side. But sitting in that middle area, or specifically driving back out into that middle area, was pretty much as good as suiciding, ultimately. Oop, that's not the right button. There we go. All right. So if you look at the stats, neither team did spectacularly, one way or the other. Although you did have, I guess, 3 top-tier Pattons do a combined 500 damage, which that ain't so good. But again, like we say a lot in the stream, a lot of the problems that you see from teams that struggle, like these players aren't necessarily bad players, but they all went to bad positions. And the thing that you should remember if you're these Pattons, right, is where did I go and why did it suck? And the next time that you're in that tank on that map, make it a point to not keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again. Thanks for the resubs, Ninja. Alright, but... Oh yeah, I forgot to look at your efficiency. Your efficiency, very good. So that's nice. Unfortunately, yeah. Just, I really felt like if you had kept yourself moving, you know, once they were surrounding you, you probably actually could have done a little bit better. I don't know that you would have won that just because your tens on the, or your team on the south just really got obliterated, but gotta give yourself a chance. GG, nice try. Alrighty, and so next will be Zen's E5 on steps. Alrighty, so one reasonably large artillery. Pretty much the same comps otherwise. But you're in a platoon. Yeah, I would probably go and try to strong arm this side. The only thing is that, like, especially when you look at your comp, right, you've got most of the heavies in your platoon. If you strong arm this side, you gotta do it fast. You can't slow play it at all. And that's the only bad part about this, because it's not like the M103 is going to be able to, like, hang on to this side. But let's see. Unfortunately, the light scout not scouting. He be camping the ridge? What's he doing? He started headed out that way, now he's headed this way. So he's sort of lighting. You can't really get through here without getting lit if they put somebody there. So a lot of times I'll just drive straight across if I know my mediums are pushing forward in front of me. Just because it'll save you a few seconds. Because if you can get to that corner right there, you can get hit by Artie, but you can prevent them from doing a whole lot. So they've got a lot here. So you might actually be able to slow play this. I mean, you kind of have to keep an eye on what gets spotted over here. But, yeah, I don't like playing the hill that you're at. Like you might think that it's safe, but I actually find it easier to hit guys over here than I do hitting this, like where that Mutz is at, with artillery. There's basically one part of this hill that's not really easily shot by artillery. Like, see where this IS-4 is? I can hit him. It's basically right about there and then a little bit further back. Those are the only difficult places to hit on this side. Otherwise, yeah. So I think, like, when you see this, right, you look at basically what you have here. You know the E100's on that side. You know that they got a crap ton back there. You know that you've lost a lot of tanks here already. I would actually pull my guys out. Like, I would tell, like, that E50M, let's see, he could still get out. They don't, I mean, he'll probably get shot by a medium on the way out. But I would start getting out, because it's really just you three guys against 6, 7 guys, you know, depending on how they deploy. And then go back and then, you know, send your fast tanks through. You're probably going to have to leave somebody on this side. See, so this is what I don't agree on. So, like, if the thought was, now you know that they've got a shit ton of people there, right? You know that. It's not a question of, oh, I wonder if they got a bunch of 10s there. You know that they've got a bunch of 10s there. You know that they really haven't taken that much damage yet. You know that you've already lost a few tanks here. If you're going to move up here now, why didn't you move up there before when you could have anchored that corner? And so that's one of the things that, like, people always ask me why I play so aggressively. And I don't really think that it's overly aggressive. Like, if you look at my survival rate is probably pretty competitive with most people. But I don't hesitate to take some place that I think that I'm going to go anyways. If I'm gonna, like, it's like the hill on mines. If I know I need to go to the hill on mines eventually, or if that's my plan, you know, I'd rather do it sooner rather than later, because I feel like that gives me an advantage to in terms of timing. Because I can beat people to spots. I can make it so that people don't get comfortable. I can make it so that they don't get reinforced. I can make it so that if these guys stop to snipe at anything on the way there, I can prevent them from getting to their spots. But you guys are pushing it now, so that's good. And then, so again, it's all about being RD safe. Ideally, you'd like to take out that T-62A. There's an area right here that's artillery safe. Otherwise, anything out to that side or anything out to that side, not really RD safe at all. And so you got to be careful about how you pursue this 50B. Oh, he's taking the snapper. And yeah, I would fixate on the 50B. I wouldn't care about any of those guys. You can get in one shot, but that's going to be it. You're not going to do anything else. Oh, unless he drives out that way. Oh, yeah. If he drove that way, it would have been much more difficult for you to catch him. I mean, I guess theoretically your team could have shot him from the base or whatever. All right, and you took down artillery. All right. So that's fine. This is actually perfect. So really, at this point, what you want to do is one of two things, right? You know that the artillery is down. It'll actually be pretty easy for you to slowly work your way up this line right here. But what you should be telling either your platoon mates or your team is that one of them, probably the E50M, needs to start playing back, right? For one of two reasons. One, because you don't want to get capped out. But two, because if somebody starts driving across here, he's going to be able to spot them much easier than you are, right? And so what you're worried about as you play through this area isn't necessarily getting shot by these guys right here. It's because presumably these guys are going to win over here. They've got more than enough weight to do it, right? And then once they start driving up on this plane right here, you don't want to get shot in the side by them, right? So you want to have your guy be able to counter that. But you got more than enough health to do this. And so, again, the basic theory is that right? You can just do a simple count of their tanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tanks right there, right? So you know that they've got 5 tanks right there. You know that they got 2 tanks right here, right? So everything is in front of you. We don't know, the T-62A hasn't been spotted in a little bit. But you want to be careful about not driving too far north on this side, because you always want to think about how to minimize the number of people shooting at you at any given time. So I would rather play the south side of these hills to protect me from these guys and just deal with these 2 guys right here, because this is the goal. The goal is to crush these 2 guys before these 5 guys can react. And so your E50M is doing the same thing. He should be on this other side here. And then once you get to this ditch, you can play through this ditch. Probably send the IS-4 back. Actually, I would probably both all of you guys should go back. I don't necessarily think it's worthwhile to push the T-62A, not in the E5, just because it's a matter of resources. Because if their team continues to move forward, like, what do you have that can get back? Like, I know that's going to take the E100 a little long. Okay, well, it looks like most of them came back, right? So the only 2 tanks that haven't yet been spotted are slow tanks. So you've got a little bit of time, at least. T-30's back there. So it's really only the E100. So you can start slow playing it a little more. Tell your E50 not to die. Oh my god. You have time. You have time. The T-30 is going to take a little while. And then you don't want to play this line anymore. Like there's no place that you can go to get good shots on anything here without overexposing yourself. So you'd actually want to go back and deal with this guy over here. Like the quality of shots that you're going to get from your positions is not good. Like you cannot shoot that E75 without overexposing yourself, right? And so this is the situation where if you don't think that you can get a shot, right, you can very easily just back out and go around, right? Because if this guy wanted, like if he was a good player, all he had to do was pressure your E50M. And we still don't know where the... Oh, no, wait a minute. The E100's dead. So... Oh, no, he's still alive someplace. Oh, he's back here. Yeah, so the E100's on your cap side. So whenever you find yourself sort of struggling in position, like don't be afraid to change it. Like eventually you're going to get to a position where that anytime you poke up here, right, if the E75 gets far enough on this side, you're going to be giving somebody side turret, right? Aim at the E75, the T30 and the Patton get side turret. Aim at those guys, the E75 will get side turret. And so you want to, like you spent the past minute or so just kind of on this hill, right? And in the meantime, you went from having 4 allies to having none. And see, this is a solid play, though, right? Because it's 1-on-1, right? There's 4 tanks left, but there's nobody that can help this guy.
Enemy vehicle destroyed.
And then, as you drive through here, what's going to happen is this Patton's going to come over the middle. So what you probably want to do is start driving through here, right? Because they're going to see you leave, right? And then stop right about here and go up this way or back this way. Oh, looks like he's coming around. Not the auto aims. Not the auto aims. Oh, man.
Target unlocked.
It's like, no. Oh, here comes the T30. Oh, there's the E100. Oh, he's only got 2k health. Alright, so all you gotta do is ammo rack the E100.
We're immobilized. Let's go.
Alright, anyways. So, a number of things. So you guys went east, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But if you're gonna pot commit to the east, you might as well push up over here early. Maybe you could have saved some of your guys. You guys did eventually clearing it out pretty efficiently overall. So that wasn't really much of a problem. I thought you actually played that side pretty well. Again, be careful about how you played this hill back here, because if I'm artillery, if you're in this position, that forward position that you're in, even on that slope of the hill or that position that your IS-4 was in, I can hit you, and it's not that difficult of a shot. If you move a little bit closer to the hill, a little bit further back, you're more protected, or if you move back here, you're more protected. But that's not a difficult shot to hit. It's actually more difficult to hit up here, as long as you're moving. You don't want to like just sit there. But depending on where they're at, of course, it's an easier shot from out here, for example, than it is from over here. And their artillery was, I think their artillery was this guy over here, which is where a lot of artillery can go. So I thought you guys played fine through here. When you push through this side here, I thought you should have probably stayed over here. And then, you know, they sent most of their guys back, but you always got to be cognizant, especially when your entire platoon is still alive. As far as what's missing, right? That E100 was missing. You should have sent somebody to go investigate. Probably the E50M. The E100 was not a good player. Probably could have gotten beaten 1v1 by a one-shot E50M. As long as the E50M was playing him from range, right? So if the E50M was playing this ridge right here, he probably could have killed that E100 before the E100 could have, you know, got a lucky shot on him. Or at least it would have been a fair shot. What ended up happening is that you ended up playing the position that the E50M, the E50M ended up playing the position that you probably should have played, which is playing through these rocks right here. And then I didn't see how your IS-4 got killed coming through this middle here, but that'll happen. I would have much rather have sent one guy back. And that's one of the things that with platoons, you have to be willing to designate. And a lot of times if you're in a platoon with two slow tanks and one fast tank, by default the fast tank is the guy that's got to make sure that you don't get cap pressured, especially if they're already low health anyways. Just go ahead and designate that out and say, hey, you go back to cap and make sure we don't get capped. And if he goes back there, right, and the E100 appears over here, then that's fine. He can mosey around through the back and get some cheap shots in then at that point. But keeping your artillery alive might have helped you out a little bit. Otherwise, I thought you did fine. The other thing is that I felt like you sat here a little bit too long. Like I see this a lot of times when people play, is that they'll drive themselves into flanking fire, essentially. In this case, wherever you turned your turret, if you turned your turret to shoot the E75, you were going to get shot by either the Patton or the T30 in your side turret, which is an easy shot for them. You didn't really have a very good shot on the Patton there, even though he did overexpose himself. And in the meantime, the E75, who was also not a very good player, all he did was just drive forward through there, and he was able to kill your E50M because it was in basically point-blank range. And so I think that was really just a platoon error. Like, you guys didn't assign your positions properly, and that's really, really what cost you there, because nobody was in a good position. I didn't see how the IS-4 died, like I said, but the E50M wasn't in a good position, and you weren't really in a very good position at the end there. And I think that ultimately cost you more than anything. Alright, so if we look at the stats. Oh man, that IS-4. 2 for 10. I hope you talked to him. If that was Miz, I would have given him so much crap. Or Marsh, or Germ. Alright, anyways, your team actually didn't do horribly. I mean, they didn't do awesome, but they didn't really do that much worse than the other team overall. It really just came down to that end game when it was 6v5 in your favor. You guys just took up bad positions, and so that ended up making it so that you traded poorly. And they didn't even really need the health of their E100 or their E75, even though both of those guys were basically full health, after their Western encounter, presumably because they didn't do a whole lot when they were out there. 15 for 24, I mean, it's not horrible, not bad, considering the ranges that you were getting at. Just a lot of those shots at the end, I felt were bad when you were on the K line there. But again, that's more positioning than it is, like aiming sort of thing. GG though, nice try.
We're done for. Everyone get out.
Alrighty, and the next one is 6 cell on Fisherman's Bay. Yeah, the E5 is a really strong tank. It's just really nice. You don't want to give up side anything on that tank though, right? Because the sides are pretty weak and the side turrets are pretty weak. So the side hull and the side turrets are both weak. So you want to try to avoid driving into the situations where you got to turn your turret to one side or the other, because otherwise people will just shoot the hell out of you. Alrighty, so top tier, many lots, big arty. I would probably initially start through the middle here, because that'll get you arty safe. And if your light tanks get set up here, it's pretty easy to get shots into this area here by just moving out over there. But, so what I'll generally do is I'll drive out here and I'll see what our light tanks do. Usually the light tanks don't actually do any spotting though. You can't really do like a scouting loop in the Type 61. You're gonna hit that rock. Okay. You can't really do a scouting loop in the T61 Type 61, unfortunately. Yeah, I think 49 is going off to that west, which is not super great, but whatever. So when you look at the way your team is dispersing, you're sending very, very little to the city. And so that actually makes this area a little bit weaker because you're not going to have a whole lot of support there. And the way this map works is you're not really going to be able to spot anything from the position that you're in. So if you're not going to be able to spot anything, I'd rather move further forward, right? Like you're in a position, like if you move back just a little bit, like you could shoot through, there's an alley right there that you can shoot through, that you can't, like right now you can basically just hit that house right there. But if you move back a little bit, you can shoot through there. But the thing is, like I said, if you had a scout doing a run, right, you could get shots into basically into this area right here, so you can get some early damage. But your scout's not, right? He's way over here. And so the same thing, you know, when I talk about when we play artillery, I always look to see where we're going to get lights. Right, you're not gonna get lights here. You know, there's nothing here on your team that's gonna light. So then you're getting set up for nothing, and that's sort of a problem because you're not like you could be a little bit further up over here, which would allow you to maybe spot and or shoot their scouts in the middle. Not to mention the fact that you're still in a little bit vulnerable position. And see how you guys are set up pretty far back in town. That means that they're not actually going to spot anybody until they get all the way through into this area over here at best. So once they're in that position, this position that you're in is not very good. So at this point, like when you look at a team like this, you want to get some more intel in the middle, but you're already thinking, oh man, I think we're going to have to try to push up this 1-2 line. And still got the STA gun on it. Well, that's good. I mean, shoot him through the tracks. Shoot him if you got him. Man, just shot him through the front. Lol. What space armor? That was good. And then so controlling this middle allows you to do very interesting things as long as their guys are camping back here. And so if you have this Tiger 2, if this Tiger 2 moves up here, then that can actually be interesting for you. Because if you control this middle here, it's very, very easy to shoot these guys back here. It's very easy to shoot these guys right here, anywhere that they hide over here. And so what you actually want to do is move around on this side of this house, because if you stay on this side of this house, you can get shots. Well, you can get shots into that moots if you wanted, but you'd have to move pretty far forward. But you can get shots down this alley right here. See where that Ferdinand's at? You can get shots on these guys. So there's a space between these two houses right here that you can shoot. I'm sorry, not. Yeah, I'm sorry. It was right here that you can shoot. And so you can, the interesting thing about this space right here is that, see where this alley is right here? As tanks back up through here, it's very easy to shoot them, and a lot of tanks will sit there. And so playing through this middle area allows you to get a lot of those shots. And if they're not countering you, right, their RU's way back here, but he's not in any range. Like, you can move all the way to the road, and the further forward that you move, right, the easier it is for you to shoot these guys. Your team's pushing up on that west, which is fine. You can shoot the back of the M103 if you move forward just a little bit more, or if he moves back. And so that's why I always say it's really important to control the middle, because if you control the middle, all the rest of this side becomes much easier to play. You don't really have a very good shot on that Ferdinand. But you actually want to move forward just a little bit more, right? And see how that IS-3 is down here now? If you move forward to right here, there's some trees along this line right here that actually allow you to shoot this IS-3 without him spotting you. Like, you can shoot him. Just move forward. No. Just move forward a little bit more. Okay. as long as he's lit, right? And that's the bad part. Like, and this is why I always say, when you're playing this side, if you don't control the middle, you do not want to be where this IS-3 is, because you can just own him down there as long as he's lit. And so you just need to learn these alleys a little bit better, because you're in a good position. You're just not in a position where you're actually getting a lot of shots on people, and that's a little bit of a problem. So if you scroll back, you will eventually get shots on those guys once they push through here. But they're going to be able to kill these guys. Right? Their IS-3 eventually left. And then so now basically what this is a rotation, right? They're going to crush you on this east side. Right? You're sort of slowly maybe going to win through this side. I would actually probably focus on making sure that you win this side. And then it's just a simple map rotation. It goes from a north-south map to an east-west map. Right? And you still want to be able to control this middle and get them as they come across open areas. And that's basically becomes the goal. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to sit around waiting for shots that aren't really going to happen. Right? You're not really going to get a whole lot of good shots unless this M103 sits in this alley for you to shoot. Right? You're actually better off helping these guys out or going back over here and getting shots down here over your Tiger. Right, and so eventually, see how these guys are pushing out over here? So eventually, it looks like this IS-3 is going to come around this lane over here. Looks like the Oho is taking this lane right here. So you can get shots on the IS-3. And so what you want to do at this point, you want to back up to about right here. Because that's basically going to give you a hold down. Go get that kill shot. Kill secure. See, the Ferdinand's pushing up the middle, so that's good for them because that's going to really make it difficult for you. So what you want to be able to do is you want to keep that guy lit as much as you can and hope that your artillery can pick him off. I'd also see how you haven't been spotted yet. There's basically a little house there. He's going to try driving up here. You can actually come around on this side, which will actually you can go. Actually, I would still come around on this side because their guys are down there. But you want to get to his side as soon as possible. You don't want to let him come all the way up here and then spot you. You want to close that gap. You want to make that gap really small because he's lower health. You've got a turret. And you've got a time window. You've probably got another 15 or 20 seconds. There you go. Perfect. Close the gap. Nice track. And then you want to be careful because you can still get shot by like their T-32. And you want to push forward. So you know that their artillery is either back here or right there. So you want to protect yourself. And so what you want to do is you want to drive all the way back, down this road over here. So basically what you're doing is you need to give up the cap. And again, you still need to clear this side over here. You're not really going to get a whole lot of good shots on these guys. They're driving on the road, so, I mean, that's a little bit better. But if they sit in this ditch over here, there's nothing that you can do. You're just not going to get any shots on them. And so at this point, you might as well just let them get on cap. You still have a chance to win this side over here. You just need to be able to help out your team. Alright, maybe not so much anymore. So what you probably want to do at this point, so this side is lost now. So what you want to do is go back down here and probably come around behind these guys. You're not going to want to sit in that middle area because eventually you're going to get pincered from both sides. And you don't want to drive across through here because they're going to light you. What you want to do is you want to come all the way around. They have time on their side, right? Because they just want up here. They can afford to wait for these guys to come out here, and the rest of your team is still camping. You want to avoid knocking down trees when you're trying to do something stealth-like. guy has poor optics. So they're all across now. And so it's easiest actually to play on this road because you could play this side of this road and basically peek over and get shots on them. I think you can get a shot on the hill right now. And it looks like they're pushing out. So what you want to do is you want to push up over here behind them because there's like this little depression over here and then they're going to come up high again and you'll get shots into their rear. See how they're driving into that depression now. But you need to get a lot closer. They're getting their pincer on. Yep, it's a little too late. A little to your left. And then what you want to do is actually probably just go back up to this middle area here. Lol, T-54E1 crashed. Well, that's just one less for you to deal with. And ideally you could clear out already, but they'll just get on caps. I don't think that'll be super worthwhile. Play back through this middle. The 704 might be coming through here. You want to try to catch people while they're ISO'd, right? You know they've got both of those guys together over there. So they're probably going to stay together. So what you want to do is you want to catch the 704 in an ISO situation. Right, and if he's coming through here, right, he's either driving straight down through there or he's driving through this middle area here. He's not going to go around through the back. So you want to try to catch him in that middle. So that is probably the 704, actually. And that's either the T-32 or the M103. And you don't have a whole lot of choice here, but again, it's easiest to play through this side of the road. They do have artillery, so that's going to make it a little bit more difficult. You are going to have to get a reset before that. Oh, that's the 704. I guess they just turned around and came back. Well, I suppose that's good for them. Okay, alright, so a number of things. So you went up here and you played through this middle, which was okay. Your team did not send very much to the town. You need to recognize that. Their team played the middle very, very limply, and that actually works out magnificently to your advantage. You didn't really get very good shots. Like, you could have gotten better shots in the IS-3, you could have gotten better shots in the M103 sort of situation, and that could have helped out your team a lot. You got to learn this positioning. Playing this road is really, really, really easy to get free damage. If they're not playing you in the middle, you can just straight wreck people in this town, in this area. And that's the reason why this area is so incredibly important in pubs, is because if you're not being countered, you can just own these guys down here. Just straight own them. And that's always going to be a problem. I felt like you sat here too long after that. Like, your guys were under duress over here. You knew you were going to lose this side. You could have gone over to help your guys win this northwest. You had a lot of campers, but I mean, that's the game. People camp. You had an opportunity where you could have won this northwest, and then that would have made everything a lot easier for you, because then they have a decision about whether to come back or not. I felt like you spent too long in this middle, from the mid game forward, and that really, without really getting any good shots out of it, and that really hurt you more than anything. All right. So if you look at stats. Both teams did about the same. I mean, neither team did very spectacularly here. You would have liked to see a little bit more out of your JT instead of camping on that one line, but what are you going to do? He could have been a pretty decent anchor in that city side. And that could have gotten you more shots. But you needed to do more damage from that middle area anyways. Something I recommend practicing, especially if you're not being countered. There's a lot of bushes along that line that you can use to shoot down into, especially into the north side of the town. Shooting into the south side of the town is a little bit more difficult from the north side, just because you kind of have to expose yourself. There's not the same tree line in order to get that counter, but yeah, something worth practicing, because I really think that playing that middle makes it a lot easier to win the town side. Let's see, 15 for 28 with the ST8 gun. Not fantastic, not horrible. I mean, it'll help. There were a lot of heavies for you to shoot at. GG, nice try.